going on, everybody? Welcome back to MLB Swing for the Fences here on the Run Pure Sports YouTube channel. It's Tuesday, August 19th, and we got what I think is a very fun 10-game baseball slate on our hands. We've got tickets to give away, a lot of winners in the chat yesterday, Steve. A lot to talk about baseball-wise, and another beautiful slate here on Tuesday. How are you doing on this Tuesday afternoon?
Good. 3 days in a row on the show for me. Traveling a bit over the weekend, so picking up some shows. I was on with JT yesterday. Thought it was a really fun show. We talked about getting away from Nestor Cortez Dodgers combos and going to the Braves game, full stacking that with the White Sox. We had a bunch of members have good nights. I know you had a good night. Guy JT almost won the lotto. I had a good night myself. So feels good to come right back on the show the next day, right? I have to wait a week to keep things going. And also, usually we're on here on Tuesdays talking, 12, 13, 14 games, a bit less today, which definitely helps for us too, because we like to dive in a little bit more on each game. So should be a good one. I'm heading to Wrigley after the game for another wind blowing in game. I think it's about 8 in a row that I've gone to that have had like a 7-game total, but a big series nonetheless for the Cubs. So got my Cubs hat on, got one of my favorite shirts on.
How to bunt, don't hit a dinger. I like it. That's a good shirt there. That's
ready for the game.
We don't play the bunters in our DFS lineup. So I'm with you there. And to your point, always more fun to come back on the show the next day after your advice was good, after you had a nice winning slate. So awesome to see so many good screenshots in chat. We will give away member Jacob Stubbs. He's here in chat. Had a big night yesterday. So congrats to Jacob. Had that White Sox stack against Spencer Strider. I don't know if he read my article. I was all about that. I've been really trying to hammer home that Strider is not the same guy. So got some good profit with White Sox stacks myself, although I did have somehow Nestor Cortez on one of my good ones, which was the only lineup I played with him. But hey, that's how it goes sometimes. And he wanted to give away a 121 single entry ticket to a member. So you got to be a member for that. For chat, did you have an idea, Steve, how you wanted to give that away?
I think they should tag us in Discord, not in this chat, and I'll be monitoring that. Make fun of me or DC or Jacob. Anything to make us laugh while we're going through the slate is good enough for us.
That sounds good to me. And then we will also have the return of Ticket Tuesday on this show. That's separate. That's from us. And we will do, as we have done the last 2 weeks, though, Steve, I must say, so far have not had to give away any flagship tickets. We'll see if anyone can beat us tonight. We'll give away that to anyone in chat who says something funny or informative or whatever. We'll pick someone, and we'll get a 3-man contest going. If you beat both of us, we'll get you into the flagship tournament on DraftKings tomorrow. People here early, appreciate it. Appreciate the support. Hit the like button if you're here early. It does help us out, allows us partially to bring you guys these shows free each and every day. With that, let's get into the slate. We do start off in Fenway Park with the Baltimore Orioles, Boston Red Sox, 2 righties here. Walker Buehler going for the Red Sox. Been a very rough ride for Walker Buehler this season. I don't think there's much left. I've been stacking against him a lot of the season, and I do have some interest in this Orioles stack as well. Obviously not the best offense, but I got to take a shot on Buehler, especially on what looks like a pretty good night to hit in Fenway. And then Tomo Sugano going for Orioles, also very hittable. He's been just smashed by left-handed bats in particular this season. You can play anyone against him. And I think right off the bat, Steve, we got 2 pretty interesting offenses on this slate. And what is, I think, going to be a theme on this show, obviously the Dodgers and Coors, but I do think, and I think you're the same way, there are a lot of different teams that look like interesting stacks to me, Orioles and Red Sox among them. What do you got for Orioles and Red Sox here, Steve?
Yeah, we start the slate off with a bang here. I'm with you. I like both sides on the offense here. The O's have gone young since the deadline. They've called up Basayo. He's not in the lineup, but the back half of this order is a bunch of their young guys, and they're super, super cheap here. These are two of the worst pitchers on the slate. You could argue the two worst pitchers on the slate in some metrics in Fenway here. Really bad bullpen on the Orioles side. They got rid of a couple guys at the deadline and have been bottom 5 bullpen since the deadline. So I do have a slight lean to Boston for the full stacks, but Baltimore is a bit easier to stack just because of the price tag. So I really like both sides. Like you said, both these pitchers just get trucked by left-handed hitters. Boston obviously has stud lefties here. Baltimore's got the cheap ones. Kind of the theme of the slate for me, at least, and we can talk about it as we go through. I really like the top arms on the slate, and I don't think that there's a lot down low to that I like. I think we're going to get some big scores from the top arms, so I'm going to be looking for those stacks that we're going to be able to fit with the top arms, and both of these teams, I think, fit that really, really well. We've got cheap bats on both sides. Nate Lowe is in there for Boston. It just makes this lineup even more left-handed heavy. So slight lean to Boston just because I believe in the offense more at this point in the season. But like I said, look at how cheap this Orioles lineup is outside of Gunnar Henderson. Vasquez is hitting second here at 2K flat. So just a really, really easy team to stack in a good spot against a pitcher that I don't really think is going to be in the rotation that much longer in Walker Buehler. I'm not sure how they can keep running him out there every time with the results he's had. Yeah,
I'm with you on all that. For those people playing over at FanDuel, the Red Sox 1 through 4, that's Anthony, Bregman, Duran, and Story is relatively cheap, and I think one of the better 4-man combos over there. So certainly looking at both these teams for offense, no pitching here for me. And through one game, at least, we are on the same page. Let's go over to Atlanta for the White Sox and the Braves. Had that shootout game, high-scoring game yesterday. White Sox went off. Braves took them a little bit longer, but they did as well. Another huge game from both Profar and Michael Harris, who we both lost our fair share of money on Michael Harris in the first half of the season.
We're getting it back now.
Yeah. I had him yesterday. I'm back on board with Michael Harris. Changed his stance. He appears to be – I mean, it's almost to the point, Steve, I don't even care what he did in the first half of the season. He seems, to me, like a completely different player. And we don't get very many of these, but once in a while, a hitter changes completely who they are. And it takes projections a while and pricing a while to catch up to those types of players. So for now, Harris sitting down at 3,300 on DraftKings. He's got to be one of the top point per dollar plays, if not the top guy, I think, on the whole slate. But this Braves lineup, man, they're dangerous right now. Disappointing year for them, but I mean, Profar hitting, Olsen and Acuna, I would say, are just kind of at their baseline levels, which is, still really high level hitters. Harris is on fire, Ozuna healthy, and then Drake Baldwin. I think there's more coming from him too. He's been good. I think he's underperforming his metrics. So this Braves top 6 looks awesome to me against Shane Smith in the White Sox bullpen. And then I'll go back to the White Sox here too. Yeah. Bryce Elder's terrible. We love picking on him. They crushed Strider yesterday. Both bullpens a little bit worn out, especially the White Sox. This is another game that I really, really like for runs. A little bit of wind blowing in, but nothing that's going to keep me off of, especially the Braves. But I like the White Sox side as well, Steve.
Yeah, this slate sets up, well, hopefully for us getting off to a hot start with the bats. We do have the lineup on both sides here. Harris hitting cleanup for, I believe, the first time tonight. Yeah. My main team, I was between Ozuna and Harris kind of right up until lock. Went Ozuna, of course. I think with the Harris, I get like third. Probably won't make that mistake again. I'm with you, though. I like both sides here. And look at the ownerships that Sabre has on the Braves here. I get that Smith has been all right, but man, like the Braves are hitting right now. And like you said, the price tags haven't fully readjusted. Yeah. Don't really need to mess around with the bottom of this order, Alvarez and Allen, but if you have to, I guess that's fine.
You mentioned, you've been in chat mentioning Acuna. It seems like he's stopped running, which kind of makes sense where he's at health-wise, and the Braves not really being able to make the playoffs, I don't think, anymore. So I'm fine leaving him off, right? You can leave out the 3-hole if you want and go down to Baldwin, even Albies, but it's not that I'm purposely excluding Acuna, but there are other ways to play it, right?
It also lines up with the pitching that we want on this slate too. The difference between Harris and, Hunter Green versus Acuna and a guy that's, we don't really like. I think that's super interesting on the slate. And then, the White Sox, you got me on them yesterday. Going right back here, I think the biggest thing isn't just that they're facing Elder, it's that they're facing a projected popular Elder. We've talked about this a lot this season, DC. There are cheap guys that we play because we like them. And then there are cheap guys who are chalk because they just kind of fit what people want to do. Elder has been terrible. He has a 7.97 ERA over his last 10 starts. Over the last 2 years, he has an ERA over 6. And I kind of like this version of the White Sox. They lost Colson Montgomery, which is a bummer. Hopefully he's not out too long. But still, the top 6 of this order, I'm kind of fine with playing any of these guys. They're super cheap. Sosa's just been on fire for over a month now. Kyle Teal hit a big bomb last night. Get the catcher spot out of the way with a 3-hole hitter, which is really nice. So lean the lefties here. I just think it's a really tough spot for Elder. He's steaming up. I expect him to be 30+% on this slate, which makes me want more and more of the White Sox bats against him. So this slate starts out with 4 of my favorite stacks on the entire slate. Sounds like you're the same way.
Yeah, this top 6 for the White Sox is, still the White Sox, but these are all reasonable hitters. Kyle Teal, I think, is one of the better, even if you're not on the White Sox fully, I think he's one of the better one-offs on the whole slate. He's been hitting righties really well. Elder worse against lefties. He's cheap enough. Nobody going to play him. Yeah, give me all of this game. Really, these first 2 games are going to
also. Elder's big issue, one of his big issues is control. And ever since the White Sox added Tauchman, added Benintendi, this team's been much, much more patient. Those are 2 veteran hitters that have high walk rates. It's just a tough spot. I like the White Sox here.
Yeah, this is funny from Jacob. He switched from Ozuna to Profar, which honestly, that switch probably, won all that money, right? If you didn't have Profar. For me, I'm more likely to remember, I don't know if this is true for you, when I switch and it doesn't work. So it's good to see, acknowledging, that was a switch I made last minute. Awesome that it worked out for Jacob. I couldn't remember who was in the 3-man last week. I don't think it was Jason Gordon. But if not, I think that's good for the 3-man tonight.
Yeah, Jason, shoot me a DM on Twitter, Steve Boynton VT, and we'll get it set up.
Yep. I've seen Jason in chat often. So we'll get the 3-man going tonight there. And with that, we will move to Tampa in George M. Steinbrenner Field. It'll be the Rays and the Yankees, Shane Baz and Carlos Rodon. So 2 pretty good, talented pitchers here. Baz he's missing a lot of bats recently. I don't know if you looked at him. I think a somewhat dangerous spot, obviously, against all that Yankees power for Shane Baz, but I think a lot of upside here, too, against a strikeout-prone, if powerful, Yankees team. And then Rodon on the other side didn't quite make the cut for me. I like the expensive pitchers better, but I do think he's at least in play. And then, of course, the thing we really need to mention here is the wind direction. So, we've referenced Ballpark Pal a lot. They still do have it playing as a positive pitcher spark, but the wind never blows in here, it seems like. I have to remember, back to April, I remember watching a couple games with the wind blowing in, and it seemed, Steve, to have a big effect on the flight of the ball to the point where, I don't know, I'm kind of off this game offensively. I think it will play much less home run friendly than it typically does. And that's a good thing for Bass too, right? His problem is some hard contact, even if the strikeouts are there. Better chance to keep it in the yard tonight, we think. So I'm in on Shane Baz, especially here. I'm not that these offenses are bad plays, but I'm looking elsewhere tonight personally.
Yeah, it makes sense that this park would be very, very wind dependent, much like Wrigley is. The reason is because it's a very low stadium. It's not tall, and there aren't tall buildings around the stadium. So there isn't anything to really block the wind. You see it at Wrigley all the time if you go to games there. The Rays stadium's the same. Sacramento's the same. It's just, like you said, the entire year, the wind's been blowing out at both of the minor league stadiums. I actually put this in the playbook too. I think this is the first time since April that it's been blowing in. So I agree with you. I like both pitchers here. Neither of us are big Rodon guys, but I just think it's a good spot. The Rays have been striking out a ton against left-handed pitching, highest strikeout rate in baseball in the split. We're going to get Rodon super low owned here, 11% on Saber, and on a slate where I want to be over on all of these top-end arms. I do have Rodon in the pool. Boz, I added to the pool later. I do agree with you. I just think he's the strongest arm under 8K here. I think he's got the most upside. The Yankees obviously have the power, but they also have top 8 strikeout rate. So he's going to be volatile. He's been bad at home, but he's also pitched in a lot of 90-degree days at home with 15-mile-an-hour winds blowing out. This is a completely different situation. So I like the under in this game. I'm on both pitchers, and not going to be on the bats here.
Yeah, for what it's worth, Boz's strikeout rate has actually been higher in Tampa. It's just been the home runs that have got him. And again, we listed the reasons why we're less concerned about that today. It could still happen to Shane Boz, but I'm with you. If I had to take one 8K pitcher that's going to put up 20 plus, 25 points plus fantasy points, it would be Shane Boz. Sounds like you are in a similar boat with him. Really strong, I think, mid-range play today. Minnesota and the A's are up next in a really, really good night to hit in Target Field. One of the best that we've seen all season. Hot, humid, a little bit of wind blowing out to center field. We've got Joe Ryan going for the Twins here. It's been awesome all season. I was kind of surprised last time out that they let him throw 102 pitches in a lost season for the Twins, but maybe they're going to let him go. Obviously, his last appearance would indicate that they at least have a potential long leash for Ryan if it's going well. I think he's interesting as a somewhat contrarian option, he's more expensive, but kind of in the Shane Boz realm for me, where I think the strikeouts are going to be there for Ryan, but I am concerned about the long ball as well. And then lefty Jacob Lopez going for the A's has pitched really well this year. I mostly have not capitalized on his big performances, and I think it's going to be the same tonight. I actually kind of like these Twins right-handed bats, Buxton, Keyshaw, Royce Lewis. They're outside of Buxton pretty cheap and do look pretty good to me here, Steve. What do you see between the Twins and the A's?
Yeah. So Jason Gordon, I just sent you the link on Twitter, by the way, to the 3-man. Joe Ryan just having a really underrated, incredible season. He's been so consistent. Time in and time out. He's the only pitcher that they really trust to go deep, like you said. He's been just dominant against right-handed hitters. And I believe there's 5 of them in the A's lineup tonight. So, while you have the dangerous Kurtz, Soderstrom bats here, only 4 lefties is a really, really good spot for Ryan. He's got a 35% strikeout rate against right-handers. So, yeah, this is yet another arm that I like up top that I think is going to go under-owned because everyone is just going to fall over themselves to play Dodgers. And I want to be over on all of these guys up top. So I really like Ryan here. I think Lopez is playable. I've been playing him a lot throughout this run. So I can't hop off now. I do get the power threat in this weather, but this strikeout rate looks pretty real, back-to-back dominant starts. Finally got the price bump here. The Twins have a couple of right-handed power hitters, Buxton, Royce Lewis, Jeffers, but I don't know. I think that, like you're saying with Harris, I think the data / projections are kind of slow to catch up to Jacob Lopez being good here. And I kind of wanted still be on him. So I'm going to have some here. I think he's underowned as well. But I also think that, like you said, the Twins power bats are in play here.
Yeah, I think this is the A's. The A's power guys are hitters I do want to mix in. Looks like Ryan will get some ownership. That's Kurtz, Langoliers, Rooker, Soderstrom, Butler is probably where I would cut it off for the most part for the A's. Not necessarily with full stacks, but I would leave those guys in the pool. Pretty good home run odds in the Twins bullpen, also severely weakened after Joe Ryan. But yeah, I guess Jacob Lopez. You're probably right with Lopez. Did you notice his ground ball rate rather against righties? 23% for Lopez. Like that. That's what has me mostly on these Twins, and the fact that they're cheap, pretty cheap outside of Buxton. But I could definitely see Lopez having a good game. So might need to mix him in at least a little bit. We'll move to the next game. Good time to remind everybody, hit the like button if you're here enjoying this free show. We do have over at Run Pure Sports everything you need for all your DFS purposes, betting purposes. We got you covered. Football packages up on the site, and you can use promo code RPS15 for a discount on your first payment. Football season, it's coming fast. We got college football quicker, and then NFL will be here. Can't wait for football season.
I'm in best ball slow draft hell right now.
I haven't
like 80 ongoing on DK right now.
I do remember last year you just abandoned ship and like let him draft out. Hopefully, you stick with.
Well, I'm going to be in Cancun for 4 nights over this weekend. I think that's about when I'm going to hit my wall.
Yeah, make your picks fast. Get those rounds going before you head off out of the country. Probably a good idea. Let's go to Texas and KC next. We've got the Rangers and the Royals in Kauffman Stadium. Another hot, humid day in Kansas City. Should be pretty good hitting conditions here overall. Lugo and Merrill Kelly, who are kind of mirror images of each other, or at least that's how I consider them. Both of them weaker against lefties, which is kind of where I would cut it off for both these teams. I think Pasquantino, pretty good one off the top of the Rangers lineup. Smith, Langford is obviously swings from the right side, but Seager, Peterson, Carter looks pretty good to me as a contrarian option on this slate. What do you see, Steve, with the Rangers and the Royals here?
Yeah, Lugo had been kind of skirting his estimators for a while. That has come crashing down. Look at his last 3 outings, giving up bombs. I want to stack against him in case something is like actually broken here, DC. I think that's a reasonable option. He's not a young pitcher. So yeah, on a slate where I'm looking for more options outside of Coors, I think Texas is super interesting here in this spot against a guy that might have something legit wrong with him here. And like you said, the top of this order is good. It's cheap. There are cheap bats throughout, with Peterson, Rowdy, Tellez in the lineup as soon as free. Jonah Heim is catching. So, don't want too many of those back end of the order bats, but you can mix them in with Smith, Langford, Seager here. So yeah, the Rangers are not a team that I stack too often, but against a pitcher that might have something seriously going on with him, I just want to, I guess, take that chance / be ahead of it,
Yeah, I overlooked the Lugo. What looks like to me like legitimate decline, lowest fastball velocity of the season last time out. Like you mentioned, not missing many bats, getting hit hard, and I do like kind of do a deep dive on most pitchers most days, but I didn't on Lugo just because you kind of assume he's just the same he's always been. But looking at it quickly at some of the stuff plus numbers, everything looks bad for Lugo. So I was kind of like Texas, but definitely like them a lot more now. I'm going to get them in the mix. That top 5, right? Yeah, you can get down to Tellez Osuna as well. Looks pretty good to me against Seth Lugo. So maybe a sneaky Ranger stack. Did you say what you're doing with the Royals?
I did not get to the Royals here. Do you want to talk me into him against Kelly? I think Kelly's more of a guy where I don't often stack against him, but it feels like he's been overpriced pretty much the whole season. So, and I don't really want to use him against a low strikeout team. So kind of off of both sides there, off of Kelly and off of Casey here. Yeah, go ahead.
Well, I do think I was going to mention Pasquantino. I think is the best play for going to any individual rose bats, but I'm convinced now the Rangers are the better side of this game to go to overall. So
also, we do have a winner. Jimmy Clouds gets the 121 ticket. If you're in Discord, you know exactly who Jimmy Clouds is.
What did you do? I couldn't find the comment that he made. You just pick him out of the blue?
McDonald posted the Siege picture and said to give it to him.
Yeah, I like it. I like it. Jimmy Clouds always bringing the good, specifically Cincinnati weather advice. So Jimmy Clouds will get you in that 121. Good stuff there. Let's go to your neck of the woods in Chicago for the Cubs and the Brewers. Second game of a doubleheader, right? I didn't actually check how the first game's going.
Cubs won game one.
Anything notable with
No, the most notable thing is that they're finally going to sit Kyle Tucker for a bit. We've talked on the show. We've talked in Discord. I know I've tweeted about it, thinking he's hurt. All of the numbers point to that he's hurt. So they're going to sit him down for a couple of days. So hopefully that gets him restarted. He has been horrendous for about a month now. But so it's pretty cool here. We're going to have 10 to 15 mile an hour winds blowing in. So interesting spot overall. Yeah.
Woodruff going for the Brewers. He's been just awesome since a little bit of a shaky start last time against Pittsburgh, but overall has been fantastic. They did pull him after.
Pulled him early, yeah.
Did you get more information on that? I kind of crossed him off the list with the matchup against the Cubs.
I did too, just because at this price tag, I kind of want to see them bump him back up before I pay that tag.
Especially with all the good pitchers on the slate. Just no need. Yeah. He could very easily back up to 90, 100 pitches. Honestly, I think that's probably the most likely thing, but he's the most expensive pitcher on the board, and there are we haven't got to him yet, but a lot of good pitching options on the slate. So I'm with you. I'm off Woodruff. I assume no interest in Tyon here either, Steve.
No, first outing off the IL. He had a couple of rehab outings. I just don't see them pushing him past 5 innings here. And, I mean, as everyone knows, this Brewers lineup is not someone that we want to go out of our way to jam pitchers against right now.
No. I think the wind blowing in so strongly going to keep me off of offenses. Sound like you're similar?
Yeah, I think this is likely a, 4-3 game, something like that, where no one's optimal, pitchers or hitters.
Makes sense to me. That's what I will be hoping for as well. Does bring us to the second half of the slate. And, of course, we start off with Coors Field. Dodgers disappointed a lot of people. I had some Dodgers as well. But, I mean, get to try again against another bad lefty. Austin Gomber going here. Yeah, I don't know how much you can really say. I do think the Dodgers – what's their team total? Over 7 in this game, I think?
7.6 on a slate where I think the next highest in the betting market is under 5. Yeah,
so kind of impossible not to like the Dodgers here. Now, you can like them less in the field, right? Which is, I guess, kind of the bigger question is, do you want to be under or over the field on the Dodgers? Their hitters looks like they're going to be, 20 to 30% owned, something like that on this slate?
Yeah. Yeah, so it's a context of the slate thing. We talked about it earlier. Sorry. There just aren't that many cheap pitchers that I think are good plays. There are cheap pitchers that you can play. But the issue is at these price tags, you have to have the cheap pitchers actually score. And I think the Dodgers have to score like 10 plus runs at these price tags if you full 5-man them. Now, they can definitely do that against Gomper in this bullpen. JT and I yesterday talked about how that game yesterday was kind of a clear letdown spot after sweeping the Padres at home. They rested a couple guys. I do think the Dodgers pound them here. It's just, is that enough with the combo of the cheap pitching that we don't really like to be on the winner?
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, we've talked about, obviously, offenses here halfway through the slate, but we both like Baltimore. We like Boston. We like the White Sox. We like the Braves. I like the Twins a little bit. Rangers, we talked about liking. So that's, 6 offenses right off the bat there that I think are very viable. And even if the Dodgers do put up, 10-plus runs, there could just be a couple of them on there, right? The guys that do the damage if some of these stacks put up more runs.
I actually don't do this too often with the road course team. I think I'm going to do a lot of 1, 2, and 3 mans of the Dodgers, not the full 5.
There's three Dodgers that I think are the best plays. Smith, Teoscar, and Pages, the 3 power righties in the middle there. You agree with that for the most part?
Yeah, they're also the cheapest 3 of the top 6 with, which also helps. We've been trying to note it basically every Dodgers slate for the last couple weeks. The bottom third of this order, I think, is the most pinch hit risk 3 batters, maybe in all of baseball. Yeah. Dave Roberts basically does not let Freeland, Rojas, Call complete a game. So we're seeing Freeland projected 35% ownership here. I mean, it makes sense. He's 2nd and 3rd eligible, and he's cheap in cores, but just know that he's probably only getting 2 at-bats here.
Yeah, I'm with Mike here. I do think Smith, if I had to narrow it down to one Dodger, he would be the guy that I would play, mostly due to, or at least partly due to the position, obviously being the weakest at catcher. Yeah. So, right-handed power mostly for me with the Dodgers. Obviously, the full stack with Ohtani and everyone. If you're somehow
Sheehan at all here, by the way,
what's that?
Do you like Sheehan at all here? He's pretty cheap. Yeah,
I was just about to bring him up. You've been. I think pretty high on Emmett Sheehan coming into the rotation. His stuff looks good to me. He seems like a, legitimate, at the very least, middle of the order type of starter, right? Number 3 or something like that. Mm-hmm. They did let him go up to 91 pitches, something you and I had talked a lot about, being concerned about the pitch count. Before that, his season high was 80. He had been at, I think, 78, 72, 76 in the 3 starts prior to that. So, no guarantee, right, Steve, that he's going to go deep into this game, but I do think they want to get him through 5 innings at least. I know the results last time out weren't great against the Angels. 6,700 though. He's the cheapest pitcher that I'm personally willing to use on DraftKings. He's cheap on FanDuel too. We know the strikeout upside can be there against this Rockies team. I'm in on some Sheehan. Sounds like you are interested as well.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, he's a guy that I liked. I'm glad that they put him in the rotation. The 91 pitches is encouraging. His outs prop isn't great. The under 15 and a half kind of jives with what you were saying. I kind of like using him. If you are doing that Dodgers 5-man, I kind of like using him here because I think if they're smashing the Rockies and he's kind of cruising, I don't know why they wouldn't give him the 6th here, So I do think that he correlates great with them. I like him a lot more than Elder. I think he's a great pivot to Elder at less than half the ownership. So I like Sheehan a good bit. You said, he's probably going to mid-rotation starter. We've played worse than mid-rotation starters at 6,700 against this Rockies team. So I like the talent. He's throwing hard. I'm not worried at all about the bad results last time.
No, not at all with that. Shields looks good. I think he's going to be good for the Dodgers going forward, and hopefully starting tonight because he is, I think, the best cheap option.
We did just get the Dodgers lineup too.
As expected, looks like.
Yeah, we got old buddy Kennedy is back in there tonight. So same exact. Actually, this is more pinch hit risk with Kennedy in over Freeland because Kennedy will come out at some point. Rojas will, and Call will come out for Conforto.
Yeah, I agree with you, and that does make the rest of the 6 pretty damn safe to get through 9 innings here against the Rockies. Got to like the Dodgers. Just a matter of fitting them in and hoping they come through. There's not too much else to say with the Dodgers. Yeah, get them in there if you can afford them, and likely will be rewarded with a good game tonight. Let's go to Los Angeles. 2 right-handed pitchers on the very opposite ends of the spectrum. You got the fireballer Hunter Green, returned from a long injury layoff, missed pretty much all of June, all of July, half of August. but then came back and looked like himself against a dangerous Phillies lineup in Cincinnati. 6 shutout innings, 6 strikeouts. Velocity was back up to 99, 100 miles per hour on the fastball on average. And was pitching well in 3 minor league rehab starts before that as well. They took their time getting him back up. But I don't know, Steve, I think I saw enough in that first start to assume Green is just a full go back to his normal self. And that's someone that you want to play against almost anybody, right? Hunter Green, the way he's throwing when he's healthy, strikeout upside, I think is the highest on the slate against a strikeout prone Angels lineup. And yeah, I guess a long way of saying Green, my favorite pitcher on the slate, kind of by a lot. Again, I do like the other guys, but yeah, if you had to make me narrow down to one, Green is the guy for me tonight. And then Kyle Hendricks, obviously the soft tosser going against the Reds, has given up obviously a decent amount of power, very hittable, and then also can run wild on Hendricks, who's given up 18 stolen bases on the year. Friedel, Steer, Ellie, obviously. Even some of the guys at the bottom of the lineup have a little bit of speed. And yeah, I'm in on the Reds here, both sides of this game, expecting a strong game from the Reds, pitching and hitting wise.
Yeah, same. Was on them last night. They got pretty unlucky to only score 4 runs. They had double-digit hits and a couple of walks and only scored 4. Same reasons for you on the Reds lineup here. Hendricks has gotten pounded by right-handed hitters, so hopefully we get Andujar in there. He's super cheap. He's in the projected lineup here on Sabre. I have not seen that lineup come through, but yeah, I really like the Reds here. I think their main lineup viable. I mean, they're one game back of the wild card, so that kind of dovetails into the Green thing. They have no reason to pull back on Green. I think that they know that Hunter Green dominating is their chance to make the postseason. I thought he looked awesome in that start. Watched that one against the Phillies. I think he's pretty clearly the best play on the entire slate here against the highest strikeout team in baseball in the split against righties. His issue the last couple of years has been giving up power, especially to right-handed bats. That has pretty much gone away this season. Before he got hurt, he was right there for the Cy Young. He's pitched that well. I think he's like 1,000 too underpriced here. I think he's pretty clearly the best play on the slate. So I'm going to have Green in my main, and I really like the Reds bats here. I'm going to keep riding them for the same reason that you said, with a lean towards the guys who are going to take bags off of Hendricks.
Yeah, really, really good spot for the Reds here. It seems like a game they could put up a big number with stolen bases and power, right? I think could both come for the Reds here. Great matchup against that Angels pen after Hendricks rather. And yeah, Hunter Green. I mean, he's no question in my mind, a 10K plus caliber pitcher. And I'm with you. I do think he is pretty clearly the best play on the slate at pitcher. It does look like the field agrees with us, Steve. Sabres got Green well ahead of anybody else at pitcher ownership, 36% right now. Pavetta, who we'll talk about in a moment, down to 21%. So people are going to be on Green, but I think this is chalk that I'm going to play anyway. Just too much upside. And I'd just be surprised if he didn't get the strikeouts, right? Even if he gave up 3 or 4 runs, I think the strikeouts are going to be there regardless for Hunter Green. So
yeah, he feels if you're into, alt bets and stuff, this is a good alt over strikeout spot for Hunter Green here.
100%. Let's get to the last 2 games on the slate. We'll do pick 6 after that, and then maybe have time to do a dong draft as well. Haven't done that in a while, but perhaps time on this slate. Let's go to Cleveland and Arizona next for a game I personally don't think I'm going to play a ton of. We've got Eduardo Rodriguez, obviously the veteran, going for the D-backs. I will say he has more big games than I would expect, and he does get a good matchup, really good matchup here against Cleveland, gets to pitch at home, and he's cheap, 7,200. So I somewhat reluctantly have interest in Erod here. I don't trust him, but cheap and a good matchup in a pretty good place to pitch at home. I do think he's a pretty good play on the slate. And then Tanner Bybee on the other side. I think you could go to him too. Obviously, that D-backs lineup is watered down a little bit, but the top half of it, no cakewalk. And we have seen the Snakes be somewhat feisty even after trading Naylor and Suarez. So give me Erod over Bybee in this game in the 7K range if I'm choosing between the two. And then I'm mostly off of bats here. Maybe a couple of these guys sneak in, but not crazy about this game offensively. Steve, what do you see? Cleveland and Arizona.
This is the one game where I'm not really sure what to do with. I'm kind of with you. There's just weird vibes around the Snakes team right now. I'm not sure if you saw what's been going on with the Ketel Marte reports. No. After the All-Star break where he missed a few games, he was on vacation apparently. And there was a report that came out. Basically, a bunch of the guys in the locker room went to a reporter and was like, this has to come out. So that's kind of weird. We'll see what happens with that. The manager came to his defense, but just kind of weird vibes around this team after they, they're having a disappointing season. So that's kind of a side note, but just don't really know what to do with them. The price tags are not where I would want them to play bats in this game. I don't really like the bats, and I'm kind of lukewarm on the pitchers. So I think both Bybee and Erod are guys that would probably make the pool if I'm MMEing, but wouldn't be in my first 5-ish lineups, So this is the first game that I haven't really had a super strong take on. Two pitchers that I don't trust, but going up against two pretty weak lineups. Yeah. Arizona, like you said, has been decent since the All-Star break, but they have started to strike out a lot more, which makes sense given the back half of this lineup, including the guy who is the biggest bunter in the entire league, who does not agree with the shirt, Jose Herrera, who sack bunts every single time there's a guy on base.
There you go. Don't make your punt catcher Jose Herrera unless you
don't be like Jose Herrera.
No opportunity to score fantasy points. So there you go. Jose Herrera, cross him off. And honestly, most of this game, Guardians and Diamondbacks, we're not super crazy about. I probably will mix in a share or two of Eduardo. But yeah, kind of just hoping for 15 to 20 out of him at a cheap price point. Last game on the slate, we'll go back over favorite pitchers, stacks, all that stuff after we talk about San Francisco and the Padres. This one in San Diego, obviously a very nice place to pitch. We've seen Nick Pivetta have a really consistent season. He doesn't have always as much upside sometimes as the top guys, but I think you could argue he's the safest pitcher on the slate. Home matchup where he's been good. Giants team that has enough strikeouts. Doesn't scare me offensively really at all. Good place to pitch. Pivetta, he's got, pretty much everything going for him here. So good play, I think, at 9,500. Don't like him as much as Hunter Green, but I think those two might end up being my core pairing today. And then, the Giants going with Kai-Wei Tang should just be 3 or 4 innings out of him, something like that.
It's like a long opener.
Yeah, I would not play Mr. Tang, who has a ERA close to 10 on the season. I'm not going to get to Padres here, but Tang appears to be very bad. So there are probably worse plays out there. Steve, what'd you end up with Giants and Padres?
Yeah, Tang faced this Padres team last time in San Francisco and just got absolutely shelled. My issue with full stacking the Padres is this park, and the Giants bullpen isn't bad. They've got some serious arms back there. So, I think the Padres are decent plays. The righties are the ones that I would want against Tang. He has just gotten absolutely destroyed by right-handed bats.
Yeah.
So Laureano, Tatis, Machado, guys like that, Diaz, I guess. But yeah, like you said, the best play in the game here is Pivetta, having the best season of his entire career. Makes sense getting out of the AL East and those ballparks going to San Diego. And he has really, really enjoyed having this as his new home ballpark. 2.4 ERA, 0.83 WHIP, 83 Ks and 78 innings at Petco this season. I think, like you said, he's the safest play on the board. Yeah. I think the Pivetta Green combo has been in my core since about 11 a.m. this morning.
Yep.
I'm going to try to make that work with bats. Kind of talked about it when we first started the show. The reason that we were looking for cheaper stacks is I do want to play this combo. So, I'm all over Pivetta. I think the Padres bats are decent plays, but I am a bit worried about them yanking Tang early, and then you get 6 innings of a pretty good bullpen.
With you on all that. Pivetta, very strong play tonight. Kind of feels almost too secure, the Pivetta Green combination, right? I'm almost like expecting 50 combined. I get it. It's a lot to ask for, but it is kind of what I'm anticipating happening. So Pivetta, Green, both on my short list for sure. Go back over pitching here quick. Obviously, we're on the Green Pivetta train. Other guys that I'm looking at, and that is my favorite combination, Pivetta and Green. But I've got it narrowed down to Ryan is in the pool. I think his strikeout upside is good enough. I do like Shane Baz quite a bit as a semi-contrarian option. I think Erod's fine. And then Sheehan, actually my favorite cheap pitcher at 6,700. I know you're similar, Steve, but run down what you're looking at for starting pitcher on the slate.
Yeah, my top 6 are those top 4 guys. I think if I had to order it, it would be Green, Pivetta, Ryan, Rodon up top in that order. And then the cheap guys, Baz at 7.7 and Sheehan at 6.7 are going to be my top 6.
All right. That's about as close as we're going to get on pitching. We usually align, but especially so tonight. So good to see. Hopefully those guys all come through for us. Let's go back over stacks. We're going to leave the Dodgers out of this discussion. We both like the Dodgers. I assume you'll have plenty of Dodgers, Steve. But so will everybody else. They're expensive. Everybody knows what to do with the Dodgers at Coors Field. So let's go to 3 other stacks that we're looking at on this slate where we both do like a number of offenses.
Yeah, it's going to be early offense, which is good because I'm leaving right after this to go to the game. Don't have to wait for lineups to come in to get everything in. Those first 2 games I think are going to be super key for both of us. I like Boston a lot. I like Atlanta White Sox. That's what won last night. I might go back to that game stack tonight. And then the under the radar one that we talked about earlier, Texas, I think is going to get overlooked here against Lugo, who might be either out of steam or hurt. There's just something odd going on that I don't think is super widely known at this point.
I love the call on Texas. Going to be joining that train for sure. I'll throw in the Reds, who we really like against Kyle Hendricks. Good hitting matchup, good park to hit in, good bullpen after Hendricks. And you do want pitchers that give up stolen bases when you get the Reds, certainly true of Kyle Hendricks. And then I'll throw in another contrarian one, the Twins, mostly looking at that fly ball rate that lefty Lopez gives up. Really good night to hit in target field. Guys like Buxton, Keyshaw, Royce Lewis, Jeffers hits lefties well. I think they've got some good home run potential. Also some potential to get mowed down, but some good home run potential against Lopez.
Yeah, we just got the Reds lineups. Since we have a couple minutes, I want to look at that real quick because Andrew had a question if we were comfortable with the entire thing. We got Friedel, Lux, Ellie, Andujar, Hayes, Marte, Trevino, Hayes, McClain. So they're going right-handed heavy against Hendricks, which is what we talked about. He's been much worse against righties. So I kind of like the whole lineup here. If I had to say the 2 that I like the least would be Lux and Trevino, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm with you there. And then Friedel and Ellie, I think, are clearly the 2 best plays among the bunch. But I do think you can play this whole lineup. I do like Marte, Noelvi Marte, good power speed combination as well. He's expensive on DraftKings, but that's you'll get the lower ownership, so it's all good. You want to pull up pick 6 if you have it, Steve?
I've got it on my phone. I don't have it on here. One sec.
All right, I can get it up.
Okay.
I think. We'll pull up pick 6 here. Then we'll, of course, after the show, be over in Discord answering questions, getting lineups going for, man, I'm kind of excited about this slate, Steve. I'll be honest.
Yeah, I wish the only thing I wish was different was the wind blowing out at Wrigley, so I could not see a 2-1 game for once up there.
All right, we got pick six going here. Where are we going to go first? Let's go to Hunter Green. Let's see what props we can get over there. Oh,
They have all this K stuff frozen.
yeah, can't get what? Yeah, no strikeout number on Hunter Green. What about Michael Harris? I'm good with riding with some more Michael Harris.
Oh, here we go.
Home run?
What about over 1.5 bases? Get a double on there, or
Yeah,
like
doesn't take many walks. I like that. I like
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Got some speed, makes some sense. So we'll get Harris over 1.5 bases as the first selection here. What do we want to look at next?
Let's pull up Lugo and see if there are any unders that we can take on him, or like over earned runs or something like that.
Yep. Hits against?
Hits against or
Earned runs. This feels good.
allowed over 1.5. Yeah.
Yeah. Let's do that. Only 0.7 multiplier, but he's given up 2 runs here. So I like that call against Lugo. Who else are we fading or looking at playing? Shane Boss, little strikeout prop.
Shane Baz, Sheehan, we can look at.
No frozen strikeouts for Boz. What about over on 15.5 outs?
Yeah, I'm okay with that.
Feels good to me. They're letting him go deep into games.
Yep.
We'll pull up Emmett Sheehan next.
We do like an under earned runs allowed on him or something like that. Under 2.5.
I think I like strikeout best. That's what we're really targeting with the Rockies anyway. Yeah.
Yep. I like that more.
So we got Harris over on the total bases, 1.5. Lugo more than 1.5 earned runs allowed. Boz over on 15.5 outs. Sheehan over 4.5 strikeouts. Feel good about this one so far, I'll be honest.
Do they do steals on here? Or say we could pull up the Reds guys, but I don't think they do steals on here.
They do sometimes. Let's see what they've got listed for Ellie.
For like Ellie or Friedel. I think we have to get one of these Reds guys in here.
What about over on Ellie fantasy points? 8.5.
Yeah, we have been projected for 10.8.
Love it. Ellie De La Cruz over 8.5 fantasy points. We need one more to finish this thing out.
Who else do we like a lot here? What about Will Smith, your call from the Dodgers?
Ooh, I do like that. Home run? Why not?
Yeah, that's a bonus too.
Yeah, 1.9. Like that or total bases?
I mean,
let's go with the bases. We like this one. Let's take the lower multiplier. If we get 6,
let's not kill it with the home run prop.
Exactly, it's like 3 doubles. So we'll go with Smith over on the total bases from pick 6 over at DraftKings. We got Will Smith over, Ellie over on the fantasy points, Sheehan and Boz to have good games, and Lugo to have a poor game, give up over 1.5 earned runs. Good stuff with the pick 6 there, Steve. We still got enough time for the Dong draft, so we will bring it back. And if you're ready, I will honor you with first pick over there.
All right, I'm going to start with some of these East Coast games that we were talking about. I'm going to go Roman Anthony to hit a bomb here, maybe even to lead off the game against Tomo Sagano.
Yeah. Great call on Anthony. He's going to be such a stud for so long. I still think there's even better production coming from him soon. I'm taking the free square, or at least according to us, Michael Harris for the bonus there, 1.5x for being under 3,500. So I'll go with Harris. Go ahead and pick your second one.
Yeah, my 1.5 is going to be on Texas. I'm going to go with old Rowdy Tellez to go yard here against Lugo.
I like the Tellez call a lot. I will go with Mr. Gunnar Henderson against Walker Buehler. Both like the O's, especially, at least for me, Gunnar. I think he's the best play on the Orioles. Steve, go ahead and make your last selection.
Yeah, last one's got to be a red. I'm going to go with Austin Hayes. He let me down last night, but he's going to go yard tonight. That right-on-right matchup against Kyle Hendricks that we talked about earlier.
Love it. I will grab another 1.5er in Ryan Jeffers, 3,300 on DraftKings for Jeffers. It's historically crushed lefties, and I think Lopez going to give up a couple of bombs to this Twins lineup tonight. All right, we've got the Dong draft. We've got pick 6 all over the slate, talking stacks, pitching, everything you guys need to hopefully have a fun night of baseball. A couple more questions rolling in. We got time. De La Cruz, Ellie, or Seager, Steve?
Man, shortstop is loaded tonight overall. Like those two, Gunnar. I lean Ellie because of the steal upside, just kind of straight up, but he is 1,000 more. I'm more confident in the Reds than I am the Rangers overall on this slate.
Agree with that assessment. I do think Seager, one of the better one-offs on the slate too, especially given what we think we've uncovered on some Seth Lugo struggles. All right, that'll do it for this show. I'll be back with
me tomorrow. No, with me. Traded the show. We get back-to-back days.
All right. Well, we'll keep the we'll keep it rolling. I personally like Baz over Lopez, but I think Lopez is capable of a big game too. But I do lean the Shane Baz side. That's my call there. Lopez certainly has upside as well. All right, me and you tomorrow. We'll be back celebrating our wins. Hopefully, a bunch of you guys in chat do well as well. Well, not the best way to end the show, but that's all good. Good luck to Gordon in the 3-man. Maybe you can take us down. And that'll do it. Thanks for joining us, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow. Until then, he's Boyden. I'm DC. We're out of here.